When I popped up MangaPlot some random Sunday, I saw the cover art for Drama Queen and said, wow, the girl on the cover looks hot, and proceeded to read Kagubarachi. And a few weeks passed and I saw it again and said, I might just give it a try. And after a bit, I just decided to read it. Without knowing, I just stepped into one of the most controversial manga that released on recent years, and I'm here to rant about it. Drama Queen is a manga that if I were to describe it, it would be weird. And not in a good way weird, I mean like actually weird. 11 chapters in and I just can't determine what the story really is about. Colonization, immigration, eat the rich, literally, plain racism, or is it just a story? With an entire drama that surrounded it. Calling it a xenophobic / racist manga, it's pretty hard not to draw conclusions to it, even by not reading the manga. But what is the story even about? We follow the story of Nomomoto, a girl who works at 9 to 5 and hates aliens. Aliens apparently saved Earth from a meteorite 9 years ago, and now they coexist with humans, bringing innovative technologies and spacecraft, to the point of making moon trips a thing, and the night skies always having spaceship trails. Nomoto doesn't like them. She thinks that they look down on humans, and after getting scolded by her alien boss, her boss accidentally hits another dude passing by, who actually argues with the boss and complains about the shitty working conditions. Nomoto then bonds with this dude, Kitami. Nomoto receives her low paycheck and complains a bit about her life and decides to go fishing. She finds Kitami there and tells her that she won't be finding fish at this time of the year, yet a few hours later they do catch one, just to drop it immediately. After some chit chat, we found out that Kitami had a little sister. Emphasis in had. His entire family was killed by aliens, more accurately, a drunk driving alien accident. He fled the scene to never be found, which sparked his hatred for aliens, to the point of even questioning if the meteor was even real to begin with, due to everything aligning so perfectly for them to just be accepted so casually into society, and says that everything feels and is rotten. Nomoto feels the same and ended up talking shit about them on the shore. Now at her job, her boss alien keeps on scolding her and by a chemical reaction ends up lighting on fire and burning to death. Nomoto, by not doing anything, ends up getting fired. She complains about her life until she gets a call from Kitami. He tells her that he's outside her apartment and opens the door to find him beating up Kitami with a corpse of an alien. He tells her that he needs help disposing of the body since alien corpses are pretty hard to get rid of. Nomoto, after hearing this and her stomach growl, decides to fry the alien and eat it. Yeah, she ate the alien. Kitami decides to pair with Nomoto for a goal, to get rid of the aliens of the city, concluding the first chapter. I'd like to give Drama Queen the benefit of the doubt. I still believe it has potential to be a really good manga, and not just killing aliens, because it's really mid. Not the offensive mid, actual mid, it's average. I expected a lot more from its first chapter. Chainsaw Man, Dandadan, Kagubarachi, Tokyo Ghoul, Jujutsu Kaisen are good examples of good first chapters, one that grabs your attention, and unfortunately, Drama Queen doesn't really do that. To be fair, a plot that revolves around killing aliens is not as interesting, even if it's something more on the unique side. Just because it's unique, it doesn't make it interesting. But it can make up for introducing a good plot or making this a criticism of racism in our world. But as the chapter went on, I started to doubt that. Chapter 2 shows us Kitami's backstory, as well as concerns about the plan. They read that it could take around 55 years to remove all aliens from Seno City. Yet that doesn't discourage our protagonists. They go outside and proceed to kill a gang of aliens that were just passing by. By this point, I think we could tell that our protagonists are not good people. No matter how rude the aliens are, our protagonist committing straight up murder is, I don't know, much worse than just being a fucking asshole. And you see no remorse on their faces. Oh, but Kitami has justification. Aliens killed his family. No, one alien killed his family. The actions of one alien should not generalize the opinion of the rest of the aliens. Yes, most of these are presented as rude and pathetic, not only in the last chapter, but also in the ones coming forward. But these guys, they were just strolling around. What the fuck did they do? I thought that Kitami would just go for the typical revenge plot of, I will go and find the alien that killed my family and murder him or something like that. But no, if chapter 1 didn't leave this clear, he hates them. Comments that he drops later on keeps on proving this, that I really question if he's doing all of this for revenge, or because he's straight up racist. Nomoto doesn't feel like this. As long as she eats, she's fine. After the murder of those aliens, they decide to go through with him. That maybe the disappearance of aliens in Seno City would scare them off from visiting there, and once they're done, they'll go fishing again. At the end of the chapter, we get introduced to Igliscar, which by how he's introduced, you would think he's going to be the one that stops them, but no. He is the intermediary for an alien extermination organization, and they've caught his interest. Since alien corpses are hard to get rid of, they can be buried, burned, melted, or drowned without they leaving an awful stench around it. They want to know how they kill the aliens without leaving anything behind. And after some discussions, they did not reveal their methods, but get hired into the job. In their first mission, killing an alien called Huntaway, an alien that makes a living off fake fundraisers. The client, a human that makes a living off fake fundraisers as well. Arriving at the target's place, they're informed that the client was killed and told that they should abort the mission, but they don't. They want to go and kill some aliens. And after some alien sex, the shortest betrayal I've seen in the most inconsistent way of falling off some stairs, they kill Huntaway. Some stuff happens, an alien called Lily that looks almost identical to the alien that killed Kitami's family appears as Kitami's new boss. They fight, and once he confronts him about the accident, he says that it was probably his twin brother and comforts him. After that, Kitami's schizophrenia kicks in, gaslights him, and ends up punching Lily. The chapter ends with Igliscar about to give a lecture about love and discrimination to aliens. Now, before reading the end of chapter 8, I thought that this manga could also be a plot about eat the rich taken very literally. Most aliens are shown to be very well economically. Huntaway, Lily, Nomoto's neighbors, the gang that Kitami kills, etc. Even with a commentary that Kitami drops, I thought that it could be a critic to the upper class and how they denigrate the lower class. But that is completely discarded due to chapter 9. Igliscar starts giving his lecture, and the most important part of it is the indirect criticism to Numamoto and Kitami, saying, "Has anything you've done made your life better?" And says that there has been discussions to aim to double the population of the aliens in Seno City. By this point, we can drop the act. This story knows it has racial elements. This manga is very possibly going to be about racism and how it does nothing to anyone, just fuel more hatred into the world for no real reason. But it's still pretty sure, due to how the aliens are getting portrayed. The meteorite possibly being fake, how apathetic they are to humans, and how they are also pretty racist to them too. The only one that makes a bit of sense is that this story may be a criticism to tourism in Japan. Japan had its biggest peak of tourism recently, and obviously some tourists are fucking assholes and think they can do anything in the place that they are. Now, switching up really doesn't make the context any better, but in a way, the plot makes a bit of sense. But there's still stuff that doesn't fit into the narrative, so the plot is still pretty loose. It could also just be a story. No criticism, no theme, nothing. It's just a story about killing aliens and revenge. It also wouldn't be a surprise, I'm not gonna lie. Hello, Noodlefucker here, and give you a quick update. Chapter 13 came out a week ago and pretty much confirmed that the plot will be about Kitami Namamoto racism ideals getting completely challenged because it pretty much spits it here, you know? The entire chapter kind of spits it up. So the only thing you need to know is that Kitami Namamoto reconciled. Kitami has to take it for an idol concert because Lily gave it to him in order for him to find his brother, because he actually feels kind of guilty. And they start to question about Huntaway because he has been disappearing for a while, and Huntaway is apparently best buds with this guy over here. I forgot his name. They got into a car crash because of the misunderstanding, because Kitami started to freak out. And pretty much the thing what we can rescue from this chapter for the fucking video is that firstly, just to get this out of the way, I like the portrayal of Kitami's trauma. I think it's pretty nice, really cool. I think it's pretty realistic. I could say it's pretty realistic. Kitami is about to kill Lily just to fully finish off the evidence, but no one appears. He tries to eat the alien for him, but you know, he still feels kind of guilty. You know, Lily is not a bad alien. He's shown to be one of the only aliens that is actually pretty fucking nice. He actually stops her from eating Lily, and well, because of the bite, he actually resuscitates, and they start biting him in order for him to be fine, because, you know, this comment was dropped, and he just felt much more guilt. Overall, Lily's fine, Kitami's fine, well, pretty much everything else doesn't really matter for the point of the video. The thing is, yeah, it's going to be about Kitami Nomomoto's racist ideals getting challenged, and you see this right now. You know, Kitami's actually starting to reconsider the entire murder of the entire alien concert. You know, that's could you say it as development? This story, I'll change my bit of my stance. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. I won't think it's mid. I think it's fine. You know, it's slightly above average, but I think it's not something that I would possibly recommend to a lot of people. You know, I could see people actually not liking this story at all. And that's completely fair. You guys are all entitled to your own opinions. So, yeah, I will still follow him and we'll see where the story's going to start heading from now on. Now, the only theories I can actually come up with is firstly, Kitami's gonna actually back down from the entire alien concert, but who knows? Maybe the alien extermination organization, some play there, and he's still gonna have to do it either way, or maybe they're gonna put a hit on Lily, and he's gonna to consider either killing Lily or conserving the job because you know they're on his fucking ass, they're on their fucking ass. And Nomoto, I think is gonna be a bit of a stretch, a bit of a reach, but I think Nomoto will be getting an alien partner. Nomoto, as we know, she doesn't empathize with anybody, pretty much. She grew up pretty much being a pretty apathetic person. And I think the perfect counter to that is not only giving her a partner that actually understands her and actually kind of feels with her, but also pretty much being the very epitome of what she pretty much hates, a fucking alien. I think it would be pretty nice, though pretty much rip pretty much what people were considering like the actual ship of the story, which is Kitami and Yamamoto. I still think it would be a pretty valid way to develop Nomomoto out of her racist beliefs upon aliens. And yeah, this story could still pull out whatever. It could be that the aliens are actually here on Earth because they're extracting something that is actually valuable to them or something like that, and they're just robbing the entire Mother Earth and all of that, you know. The aliens could also just be chilling. They're just been doing all of this for fucking nothing. I feel like this entire thing that they're trying to pull off is going to bite them so hard later on in the story that it's actually going to set them as criminals, pretty much, which is not a fucking lie. But anyways, I do think it still has a lot of potential to actually try something bigger, you know. But for now, I'll just leave it there. I'll just put you the outro for the video, um, and I would recommend you guys to read it. I would recommend you guys to read it and give yourselves your own opinion. I'm just gotta say it. I gotta say it. Backbone looks really fucking hot here. The highlight of this manga for me is the artwork. It looks pretty nice. Drama Queen is a story, and I'll leave it at that for now. Once it shows that it has more to offer or proves the hate watchers right, I will determine if it's actually peak, mid, dog shit, or it got axed and we'll never see what Kuraku Ichikawa was really cooking with Drama Queen. I'll update you guys in the future and drop it in the comments for those who have read the manga. What do you think about this manga? If it was some incomprehended masterpiece, or are you guys in the same boat as me, or you have an entirely different opinion? Just keep it civilized, please. Please. I just keep it civilized. That's the only thing I'm gonna ask you guys. Don't go on insulting each other. Everybody has their own opinions, and as you can tell, mine is not also that interesting. But I just wanted to put my 2 cents into this story. But yeah, my name is Noodlefucker, and I'll say to you all, like, subscribe, and good night.